In today's video, we're going to take a look at a live trade that I executed on Apple. Got a good little short trade on it, so we'll look at exactly what my thought process was throughout this live trading video. Hey guys, I'm Tex. If you're new here, I share my journey and experiences with trading and investing in the stock market. So thanks a lot for watching. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I've zoomed in on the price action here. We're going to be paying attention to these charts right across the bottom here. This is Apple's charts, and we do have multi-time frames up, so just kind of checking them off. This is our 1 minute chart, this is our 5 minute chart, and this is our 60-minute chart. These are my favorite time frames to watch. I like looking at the 60-minute time frame for getting a really good context of, where specific pivot levels are, daily moving averages, things like that. The 5-minute chart is really good for seeing trends. That 5-minute 9 EMA is a very powerful moving average, so we want to be aware of that. We're actually trading up toward it right now. You can see that kind of fuchsia line right there. And then of course the 1-minute chart is a very fast time frame, really great for nailing your entries into a specific trade and just getting a kind of a sentiment of the price action and volume trends. So what I noticed is that Apple dumped straight out of the gate. We can see that it made this move down, and what it did is it traded down right into the prior day low, and you've also got the daily 9 EMA, and you've also got a pivot point support level sitting there. So technically speaking, there is a confluence of support there, and that would normally be a really high probability place to take a long trade. And you can see that it did initially bounce off that level. It's starting to kind of retrace up at this point. But one of the subtleties of trading is learning to be able to read price action. And when you look at this, you can tell that the price action is very heavy on this retrace. So Apple just didn't really want to go up much higher on this retrace. And you look at the NASDAQ, the Qs, QQQ, the ETF that tracks it, and it ripped, quite a bit. It went up all the way, I believe, over the high of day. And Apple's barely retracing here. It's having trouble getting anywhere near the high of day, which was basically right here, right off of the open. So as it pulls down, you notice that I drew this trend line, and this is basically like a flag break, the opposite of a long flag break over VWAP. You're looking for a flag break under VWAP, essentially just grabbing a screenshot to post in the chat room for the guys about the specific trade idea. But when you're looking for a flag break that's under VWAP, although we are over the VWAP on the 1-minute chart, you can see that we are still really struggling with the VWAP on the 5-minute chart. Basically, you're looking for this flag break. Now, I get in this trade just a little bit early with very, very small size, really just to kind of feel the contracts out. Part of trading options is, those premiums on the contracts are going to move around a lot on you. And one of the subtleties that you can kind of pick up in the price action is how the value of those contracts is either holding up or really decaying. And so if there's a lot of sentiment to the downside, and I actually just executed the trade right there. You can see I just bought one 385 put, and this week's expiration, so today is Thursday, so these contracts expire at the end of the day tomorrow. But you can really get a good sentiment of the price action in the options market when you see how those contracts are behaving in terms of, are they holding up their value or are they decaying rather rapidly? And while you can kind of get that by watching the premium movements on your options level 2 window here and everything, sometimes it's helpful to actually be in a position to kind of feel that out. Now, for when you're first learning how to trade, I would actually recommend waiting for the trigger to execute the trade, and really that trigger is going to be a break of this trend right here. Now, this one was a little bit tricky because of the fact that we do have that confluence of support below us. You've got that prior low of day, like I said. You got your 9 EMA on the daily chart, which I call the 9-day, and you've got that pivot support sitting right there. However, you do have the negative catalyst from Goldman. That's always worth taking note of anytime Goldman comes out and says something with an upgrade or a downgrade. And you've also got Apple that's really been struggling to hold that 9 EMA on the daily chart for a little while now. So the daily chart is also a really important chart to look at for context. I don't have it up, unfortunately, in the video because I have my daily chart moving averages displayed on the intraday chart, as you can see right here. This fuchsia line right there, that's marking the 9 EMA on the daily chart. So I don't really need the daily chart up. I like having the hourly chart up because it is obviously showing me after hours and pre-market data. So I'm I'm being aware of more levels that could come in as support from pre-market and after-hours data that wouldn't show up on a daily chart. But nevertheless, we see that Apple is continuing to retrace. So obviously you can see that I am in the trade a little bit early, but as I said, it's such small size. We're just kind of feeling the contracts out. And for the most part, we can see that they're losing a little bit of value as we retrace up higher, but they're not really going down that much. So the sentiment to me seems most likely to be to the downside for the move that I'm looking for. So I got in around 387 on the underlying. I think it was right about here. Yeah, this is 387. And I'm risking up to the 5 EMA on the daily chart. And the 5 EMA on the daily chart is this yellow line right here. Okay, so we can clearly see that we are under that, and that's most likely going to provide resistance for us. We've got some obvious overhead supply, all of this overhead supply sitting over us. Okay, so the odds favor that it's going to be difficult for Apple to get back into that supply. And given the negative catalyst, given the price action of how heavy it is on this retrace, it just looked really good to come down. So at this point in time, we're just riding with the one contract. And I believe here in just a minute, I'm looking to go ahead and add to the position. And really my risk level on this is, like I said, this 5 EMA here on the daily chart, as I call it, the 5-day. If we get above that, if we start moving above that, then obviously I'm not going to really like the trade short anymore. So I'm risking about 1 point on the underlying, and I'm looking to get about 3 points. The target on the trade is right around 383 and change, I believe it is. We can't quite see it yet on the hourly chart, but down here below us, we will see it whenever Apple does start to work here. There's another pivot support level, and I believe it was 383 and change. It's so that's really what I was looking at. So looking at about a 3-point reward on the trade. So 3-to-1 risk reward, really solid trade idea here. And so at this point, it's just about being patient, and this is one of the hardest parts of trading. You have an idea, you want to be patient and let it really work out. So I'm going to try to do some fast forwarding in this video, otherwise it's going to be way too long. I think I was in this trade a little over 30 minutes, but we're going to try to capture a second contract that I'm fixing to buy here in just a minute, and then we'll kind of see how this plays out. So let's see. What we're doing right now is we're trading right up into that 9 EMA on our 5-minute chart. So that's usually a pretty powerful moving average on that 5-minute chart. Again, our risk level is going to be right here, this 5-day, that yellow line from the daily chart. So we just watch this as it comes up. You can clearly see that it's having trouble. Okay, this retrace was, if you look, at the other stocks, for example, look at NVIDIA up here. Look at the strong retrace on NVIDIA compared to Apple, okay? And you compare that to also the NASDAQ, and you can see that really Apple was struggling. So what we're seeing now is that Apple is actually breaking this trend, and I'm just kind of waiting for a second here for confirmation. We are under the trend. We are over the VWAP, but it's not uncommon for us to kind of move above the VWAP and then fail. So kind of like a look above and fail situation. So I'm watching this very closely, and I believe I'm fixing to add to the position here in just a moment. So let's see this play out. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit for you guys here. Moving ahead. So Apple's pushing up towards that 5-day, right up into our risk zone, and also a double top, right? Because you can see that the morning high was, right off of that 5-day. So there's your double top and your 5-day pushing right up into our risk zone right there. A little bit of a fake out here, falling below the trend line and then reclaiming. So it's never going to be perfect. These trend lines, obviously, it's going to trade around them, but generally speaking, as you get better at reading the price action, you're gonna know when it's time to really start getting aggressive. And it's not quite here yet. I did just go ahead and add that second contract. You can see I'm up to 2 contracts. So first contract I bought at $239, second one at $203. So average cost right now at $221. Really almost no risk on this trade. These contracts are so cheap. Again, I'm just kind of in a little bit early to try to get a really good average price on these contracts and feel the price action out. I'm perfectly okay with the risk that I'm putting on here with the trade. Because of the fact that I'm looking at a significant reward compared to the risk that I have. So at this point in time, I'm only got the 2 contracts, and Apple's been a very difficult stock to short. You know, when you don't really get those super clean washes today, very fortunately, we do get it, but you did have to be very patient with it. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit here. Again, just try to keep the video as short as we can, but get as much value out of it as we can for you guys. So as you can see, we are starting to roll here, right? We got that rejection right off the 5-day. Okay, so that would have been an ideal place to get into the trade, but I wasn't sure that it was going to get all the way up there. So again, just kind of feeling the contracts out, getting in a little bit early. Now, as we come down here, I thought about going ahead and adding more in, but I've seen this happen so many times with Apple. It comes down and then it holds either a double bottom or a higher low, and then it rips higher. So Apple's been a very difficult stock to short lately, but nevertheless, the idea is there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to wait for Apple to actually confirm before I add in too much size on this. And what I mean by confirm is I want to see it actually prove that it can get underneath all of this confluence of support here. Again, you know, you've got the kind of 3 levels there: previous low, the 9-day, and you got pivot support. So I really need it to confirm and prove to me that it's going to make a significant move lower and basically break out of this whole area here, this whole demand area here, and make a move down into the next area below us, which is around that 383 and change level. So as Apple comes down into the VWAP here, we're just going to kind of fast forward this a little bit, kind of watch the price action here. You can kind of see how the premiums are moving, getting close to flat on those contracts. So what I'm going to do here is Apple's making a push down into this confluence of support. So I'm going to take one contract off for a little bit of a profit. So basically I'm going to be selling this first contract that I bought at 239 to kind of feel the, you know, the premiums out. I'm going to sell that for a very small profit, and what that's going to do is remove some of the risk from the trade, okay, and it's going to leave me with the last contract with a much better average price, you know, an average price that's closer up here towards my risk zone. And then that way I can really just kind of let it work and be patient with the trade and see if we can get a really good move to the downside. So again, let me just kind of fast forward this a little bit for you guys, and we'll get to the point where I'm going to be selling this contract. And you can see, I mean, you see Apple's coming down, but it's a fight. It really is a fight. Shorting Apple has been a fight for a while now. It's been very bullish along with the rest of the market. But it's due. I mean, it really is due. And in the bigger context, again, you can kind of see how it's really been struggling to hold that 9-day for a while now. So if we get a close today below that 9-day, then I think that could really open the door up for a decent move down to the 20 SMA on the daily chart for Apple. But we'll see how that plays out after today. As we're coming down here, you'll see that I actually put an order out to sell that one contract at $2.45, so really not much of a profit at all. Didn't get a fill on it, so we're going to wait and see what happens here. So I'll just fast forward. Here we go. So Apple's making the move down into that previous low of day. Nice wash there. So I sold that contract. I actually got it at $2.50. Okay, and so again, that just kind of removed some of the risk from the trade in case Apple does hold this confluence of support and then turn around and rip all the way back up. Okay, so at least that way I'm much better positioned to kind of fill these contracts out and see what Apple does here. Now, what you're going to notice is that I actually hedge the position with a call when I see that Apple is really trying to hold this whole confluence of support. Again, I've seen it happen so many times with Apple. It double bottoms, higher low, over a significant support level. And so I just decided to go ahead and hedge with a call just in case that happened, because I know that if we break through the 5-day, that's going to be my stop for the short trade. But I'm more than happy to go ahead and take a long trade, because we could definitely see some nice move up here to the previous high of day, which you can barely see, but right there, that yellow dashed line is marking the previous high of day. So there's definitely a long trade with some possible short squeeze to be had if we don't break this low here, okay? Because you can definitely see that shorts are starting to pile into this. So if they don't get the move lower that we're looking for, it has potential to really squeeze higher. But again, with the negative catalyst on the day, my conviction was pretty high to the short side, but I just wanted to kind of protect my position a little bit just in case we do get that squeeze higher. So I'm going to fast forward to that point where I buy the one call. So right now I have one 385 put, okay, and so as Apple's pushing up here, it's starting to look like it's going to squeeze through the VWAP and go all the way back up to that 5-day. So this is right about the time I'm about to pick up that call and hedge the position just in case. So let me just fast forward. So again, yeah, this is what happened, right? It pushes up into the VWAP here, okay? We can see that. And then it gets rejected and it comes down. This is good. This is what I want to see. Now what I'm planning to do here is if we confirm and we start breaking the support, I'm going to add into my position very quickly because we're probably going to get a very quick move to the downside. All right, and that's going to be that quick confirmation that we need. However, what we're going to see is that it does reject off the VWAP, but you'll notice that it's still having trouble coming lower. So there's still some buyers sitting down here that we haven't been able to shake out just yet. So until those buyers really step aside, Apple's just going to continue to hold this confluence of support here. So I'm watching it very closely, you know, not really ready to add yet. It's not confirming, but I definitely don't want to see it squeeze back up to the VWAP. At this point in time, it looks good. It needs to continue to break down here for me to add more into my puts. So we're going to watch this as it's coming down. The other thing that I would mention is the volume was relatively light today as well. So that can definitely make things a little bit tricky when you have lighter volume. It does put you at a little bit more risk of a potential short squeeze if the trade doesn't work, if you don't really get that follow through to the downside. And once again, I mean, you can see every time we dip down into that prior low there at what is that, 386.41, it just gets bought up. So there's a buyer sitting down there that really needs to step aside, and so far, you know, we haven't been able to break through. We haven't really been able to close below that level. So we're coming down. Let's see what happens. And I believe we actually hold a second time here, and then we push back up into the VWAP, and that's whenever I hedge with a call. So let me just fast forward a little bit here. Okay, yeah, so right here you see how we're holding that previous low of day and that pivot support once again, and we're starting to lift back up, right? So I see this, I'm thinking, all right, so Apple's really trying to hold here, and normally, you know, I would always say you want to buy in support, but again, we will always want to have that bigger context in mind with any trade. So just in case, you know, just in case we hold here, I'm fixing to hedge. Let's watch. I'm going to fast forward. All right, see the powerful squeeze that we have coming right back up into the VWAP. So it looks like Apple's going to try to hold here, and you know, I definitely want to be able to capitalize one way or the other. So as we push up here, looks like we're going to try to just have a little small pullback and then squeeze through the VWAP. So I think right here, yeah, just switch over to the 385 calls. And here we go. I think I'm fixing to go ahead and buy that one call, and that's going to hedge. There we go. Yep. So I bought one call at 430. So that more than hedges the put. It's actually a little bit more expensive than the put. So we're going to watch this right here. If Apple squeezes nicely up into the 5-day and reclaims, we're going to get rid of the puts, and we're going to get into the calls and look for that move higher into the prior high day, like I said. But my bias is still to the short side. So right now we're just kind of hedging our position, and what I'm watching here is look at this stuff. All right, look at the size of this stuff. Look at that coming down, right? So I decide to go ahead and add another put. Okay, so I just added one more put. All right, and right here I believe, yeah, I'm adding, and now I'm adding in. So we're starting to confirm. All right, we're starting to confirm. We got that stiff rejection right there off of the VWAP. Really nice rejection candle, and we're starting to confirm underneath all of that support. So I've added into my puts. I've closed my call. At this point in time, I have pretty much 100% conviction that the trade is going to work. So there's obviously no reason to really hedge. So unfortunately, yeah, I mean, the hedge cost me about $53 right there, you can see. But really high conviction on this. As it comes down, we see that it is just stubbornly trying to hold that support. But as soon as those buyers step aside, Apple's going to fall apart. And you can just see it in the price action. Sometimes it's cleaner to watch here on the 5-minute chart than the 1-minute chart, right? If you're just watching the 1-minute chart, You can see how you can easily get faked out. I mean, this candle here looked like it was going to start squeezing up. So, I mean, it even got me a little bit that it caused me to go ahead and hedge my position there. But if you look at the 5-minute chart, what is the 5-minute chart telling you? It's holding underneath the VWAP. It's holding underneath that 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart. So that 5-minute chart is a very clean indicator for giving you an idea of the trend. And so when you're in a trade, it's actually a lot better to just focus on the 5-minute chart and don't pay so much attention to your 1-minute or your shorter time frame charts, because it's really just a lot of noise that can lead to false triggers to get out of a trade, basically. So yeah, we're in with 6 contracts on the puts, average price 235. Kind of trying to hold that level here, but again, just sticking to my guns. I feel pretty good about this, and I think we're going to start to get the resolution here in just a minute. So just to make my morning that much more challenging, just as I patiently waited for this trade to work all morning long, when it starts to work here, my phone starts ringing. The rental property has a leak in the ceiling from the air conditioning. So just whenever Apple starts to tank and I'm trying to, put sell orders out to start covering my position, I'm on the phone at the same time talking to the AC repair guy and talking to the tenant, trying to sort that out. So, I mean, what a cluster mess this morning it was for me. It definitely tested my ability to multitask, tested my patience, but in the end, it was worth it. It was a good little trade here. So we're going to watch this. I think we're getting really close to the breakdown. So let me just try to fast forward a little bit once again, and we're going to see the breakdown come. So you can clearly see how much Apple is struggling here. So let's just fast forward. All right, here we go. So it looks really good on the 5-minute chart. Here we come into a double bottom, right? So Apple's coming right into that double bottom, but definitely this is not a double bottom that I'd want to be buying. It's already proving and confirming that support is going to give way. And it's really going to open the door down to our next level of demand, which is 383 and change, I believe. So as it gets this nice little wash in here, we're going to get a nice little retrace. This would actually been a decent place to add in to the position as it retraces up here into the previous support that it was trying to hold all morning. So it's retracing up into this, and then you'd look for that rejection. So when it confirms that it's rejecting, that's a good place to add right there. But I decided to just run with the 6 contracts. So let me just fast forward a little bit more and go ahead and wrap this up, because we're getting a little long in the video here. That's the only problem with these longer trades, guys. It's a little hard to kind of do a live trading video, because they can last a while. Sometimes you're in a trade for 45 minutes, an hour. It just really depends. So you get this nice retrace coming up right here, right into that whole confluence of support that we were trying to hold all morning. And at this point in time, I want to see that reject, right? So originally on the trade, I was risking up to our 5-day here, but now that it's confirming underneath the support, I've moved my risk level down to just a little above that support, right? I'm going to give it a little wiggle room here. I don't want to be faked out if it just kind of pops over and then fails. But ideally, we want to see it stay below that confluence of support that we just broke if our thesis is correct, and we're going to see a nice move to the downside. So far it's rejecting, right? And this would have been a great place to add more into the position, but I chose not to. So we're just going to let this ride, and really nice price action here. There you go. There's that really good stiff rejection. At this point, it looks really, really good. Right now, when you see this kind of price action confirming, you're in a really good position. This is a great place to be in. A lot of confidence in the trade working out. You can see that we're up almost 20% on those contracts. So, I mean, a 20% return, that alone is already really, really nice. So as we're washing down here, I'm literally on the phone and trying to put orders out to sell some of my position. Getting really nice washes. Look at the premiums just exploding here, coming up in value very, very quickly. I'm on the ask there at $3, trying to sell a contract. I think I just sold one at $270. I sold one at $270, and now I've got an order out at $3, seeing if we can get that filled. So I changed it actually there at $2.95. Looked like $3 was having a little bit of trouble there to hit that on the premium. Looking for that $2.95 fill here on the ask right now at $2.95, up 25% on the position. Should be about to go over 30% on the trade, so that's a really, really great return. Can't complain about that. So still on the ask there at $2.95 to sell another contract. Okay, there we go. We just got filled on that contract at $2.95. So we have 4 contracts left, up over 30% on the position, and really expecting Apple to continue moving lower here. Just part of a normal small little retrace here, just kind of shorts covering. Dip buyers kind of trying to dip buy, but more so just kind of shorts covering after this wash. Nice move continuing down. Can't quite see it yet over here on the hourly chart, but let's keep an eye out for that next pivot support level. That was really the target on the trade. So we're going to see this kind of continue to wash down here. So let me just fast forward a little bit again. So just kind of a normal little retrace here, right? Nothing to be alarmed about. You know, at this point, it still looks good to hit our ultimate target. But of course, we want to be paying ourselves on the way down, right? Look at that big wash, big explosion on the premiums. I was a little bit slow. Again, just juggling the phone call at the same time. It was less than ideal, but sold another contract there at $3.25. You can see right there on that quick wash down. And I think I'm going to try to put one out at 330. Yeah, but no, I'll put one out at 335 on the ask, and trying to get that fill, and it just really isn't wanting to give me a fill there at 335. There's the target, 383.64. It's just starting to come into view right there on the hourly chart. So that was the second support level from the pivot point study, and that was really the ideal target on the trade. Just grabbing a quick screenshot there, but so I'm down to just one contract now. Sold another one at 3. I did get filled there at 335. Okay, so I'm down to just one contract, and I don't know why the percentage return, that definitely can't be right. The percentage return jumped up to like 200%, so I'm not sure exactly how they're calculating that. It does change whenever you start selling your position, but nevertheless, I mean, it was still a really solid return on the trade. So I'm throwing an order out at $3.40 because we're getting pretty close to the target, to the ultimate target on the trade. And I think about the highest premium I was expecting was around $3.50, if I'm not mistaken, based on the expected move to the target and the delta on the contracts. So I don't know if we quite get there. I saw some 340 come through. I got filled on the last sell there at 335. There's 338 coming through, 340. And I believe I'm going to try, okay, so there's 345, 350. We saw 350 printing there. And let's see, we still have a little bit further to go. So we may have hit a little over 350 on the premiums, but I was pretty close with the calculations based off the delta about what I expected the contracts to be at. And I totally missed it. I wasn't paying attention, but I did sell the last contract there at 343. So I'm totally out of the trade, locked in 482. You know, so after the $53 loss on the hedge position, up 429 on the day. So not a bad day. Really good trade. I mean, it kind of makes sense that Apple should retrace a little bit here. You've already got some nice extension from the 9 EMA. We're not quite to the target yet, so I wouldn't expect too much of a bounce. Maybe one more leg down into that pivot support level, which was the ideal target on the trade. So we're out a little bit early, but again, all in all, I'm happy with the trade. It was one that you had to be patient with, but it was worth it in the end. The risk reward was there. Again, risking 1 point on the underlying for about a 3-point return, or pretty close to it. So very happy with that, especially considering all of the multitasking that I had to do during that trade. So I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Sorry the video ended up being about 30 minutes, but hopefully it was very helpful for to you guys. I know seeing this live price action is something that, as a beginning trader, just takes a lot of time. You just need a lot of screen time to really kind of soak this in and just kind of learn to be able to read the price action and give you a good idea of what to expect. Not so much anticipate, but have a plan and just a good idea of what to expect out of the trade. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Hope you're doing really well. Take care as always, and we'll catch you in the next video. See ya.